Welcome to Stop My Crisis. I'm your host, Vivian Gaspar, and today here with me, I have Raffi Jamgotchian. And Raffi is the president of Chayada Networks, where he services technology and cybersecurity needs of boutique asset managers and registered investment advisors. Raffi is a certified information systems security professional. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Vivian.
People who are not business owners are going to wonder, why do they need you and your expertise? So tell me, what does the general public need to worry about when it comes to cybersecurity? A few years ago, didn't Target have a massive breach, right?
Right.
And there's many companies have that large breaches.
Yeah, I mean, every day you hear in the news about new breaches happening all across the country and throughout the world. And so 2015, which is what you're talking about, 2014, that was the year of the retail breach. This year is now shaping up to be the healthcare breach. So it's going beyond it. It's everyday life. It's something we have to live with.
So when you say the healthcare breach, didn't I hear that Horizon Blue Cross also had a breach and Social Security numbers were leaked?
Yeah, Anthem Blue Cross was a huge, massive breach, the largest one in New Jersey history. But however, the further breaches are occurring with, especially the hospitals now. We had a hospital down in Washington, D.C. that was shut down for weeks.
Weeks?
Because of ransomware. So their data was being held ransom. They were required to pay a fine, not a fine, but a fee for to get their data back. And it actually shut the services down for the hospital.
Would ransomware attackers only seek to hurt large companies, and why should the individual care about that?
Absolutely not. Ransomware actually started out mostly as a problem that individuals were facing. Small mom and pop shops, your own personal computer at home.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
This is not just for the large multimillionaires. It's not like a Trump problem.
No, not at all. In fact, they do a spray and pray. They spread out their emails across multiple people, just like you get any other kind of spam. All they need is a few people to click on it, and then they can monetize it right away.
What does that mean, ransomware?
So basically what they do is you'll get a notice on your computer that has a big red sign or whatever that says your data is secure. And what they mean by secure is they've now encrypted your data, they've scrambled it with a key that only they have. And in order to get that key back, you have to pay them a
Well, here's my question. Let's say someone utilizes something to the effect of Dropbox.
Right.
Okay. And let's say you're really good and you keep everything, let's say Google Drive or Dropbox or something to that effect.
Right.
Does that help protect you against that or not?
Potentially. If you use a service like that, they tend to have versions of your program. So you'll see, if you know you got hit at 2 o'clock, you can recover your data prior to 2 o'clock by going to Dropbox or Google Drive and recovering that information. So good backups is the best way to protect yourself against
Would that also stand to reason with another system such as a Carbonite or something to that effect? Is that the same thing?
Absolutely. In that case, you would use Carbonite for the same way.
So you don't have to worry about paying their ransom?
Not necessarily, if you have good backups.
In fact, so if you do, you're safe.
Right. And so we have, I'll give you a tale of two different companies. Both of them, accounting department, both of them with someone clicked on a link. In both cases, one had good backups, was able to recover their data in minutes. The other one contacted us, and unfortunately their backups hadn't been working for 2 years.
Oh,
so unless you're
2 years? No backups?
No backups for 2 years.
And this is a company?
This is a company. And so unfortunately they lost 10 years worth of records, not only just the 2 years that they weren't backing up, but even prior data for that.
So wait a second, I'm thinking if I'm the company and they had all this information for 10 years, did this company have employees?
Of course.
So how many employees did you happen to remember that they had?
They had 12 employees.
12 employees. Couldn't that bankrupt a company?
Potentially,
So
absolutely.
now those 12 people could be out of work, and not to mention the owners of the company could, bankrupting them can hurt their family. So this is something that's a problem for everyone to care about.
No doubt, small and large.
Wow, I didn't realize this is so prevalent. Give me another example of why a cyber breach, for example, you had said Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. People would think, oh, well, that's a huge company. Why should that affect my life? Well, why does it matter to a regular individual?
The individuals are the ones that are affected in that case.
How?
Well, it's their data that's getting lost.
So what does that mean, lost?
For example, if Target gets breached, we'll use Target as an example. If Target gets breached, it's your payment card information, it's your credit card information. That's about 86 of what identity theft is payment card information. People who are taking over their accounts and then reusing it, creating new bank cards, etc. Your healthcare records, you can't get a new healthcare record.
So that's worse then.
Absolutely.
Because if someone pretends they're you and they utilize your healthcare information, so hypothetically, let's say you're a perfectly healthy individual.
Right.
And the person who, let's say they have a cancer or some kind of severe illness, wouldn't they want to infiltrate and say they're you and get now health insurance coverage that they couldn't otherwise afford?
Potentially, and not only that, they can use your information to get new pharmaceuticals and then resell that on the black market.
Oh, it's much worse than that.
Absolutely. And
both
now,
different ways.
Or use that as potentially a way to extort you out of other information if they find out something that maybe you didn't want other people to know about.
Such as? Any other ideas?
Well, if you have certain illnesses, it may be something that don't want the public to know, and now they're potentially could leak that and use that as a way to extort money out of you.
Okay, so is someone else? What other ways can someone have jeopardy from the malicious people in the world who are doing this kind of cyber crime?
Well, there's a couple of things that you can do. I mean, first thing is to really do good hygiene, computer hygiene.
What is computer hygiene? Brushing your teeth?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone has to take, just like you take showers every day, you really should do certain things every day to keep yourself safe. One example is when you're at a coffee shop. I was at a Starbucks up the street today. You don't want to use that network to browse your banking information or even potentially going on Facebook, because now somebody else in that coffee shop can gather information about you.
Why Facebook? How could that be a danger?
Facebook has potentially a lot of information about you, personal information that they can use either to steal more identity information from you or potentially your loved ones.
So then my question's going to be, if you're sitting at Starbucks, instead of using their internet or Wi-Fi, would it be better to use your hotspot that you get from your cell phone to connect that way? Is that more secure?
Yeah, there's two ways you can do that. Absolutely, a hotspot is one excellent way, which is a great
and that's
example.
A lot more, if you have to go check your banking, for example.
Absolutely.
That's more secure.
Definitely, yeah. That's much more difficult to break into. Another possibility is to use something called a VPN software. They're free and inexpensive ones.
Free?
Yes.
That's a good price tag.
Free is always great. That are available that people can use in order to cloak their activity while even in a public place.
Is that easy to find out? I mean, for example, can you go on YouTube and find out how do you do that?
Yeah, how do you use a VPN or personal VPN? Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So this is great information. Well, my last thing is there something else that someone could do that's not related to being on their computer, but also protects their identity?
Sure. I mean, just like you do online, there's lots of other things that you can do offline as well.
Such as?
For example, you actually gave me this idea, not using your own address on your bills as a way to prevent people from finding out about you. Another thing is to make sure that you don't put in your address on your GPS. For example, so one common way, yeah, exactly. You get into your car, you press home, you pull up, you hit the garage door opener, and now you have full access to the person's home.
Now you're giving easy access to the potential burglars,
exactly.
And who knows what else they could do if they surprise you when you're home.
Right. Give the address for the guy down the street.
Or your 2 days down next door neighbor, you know where you live.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, how about reverse lookups? If someone, they use a lot of your cell phone numbers for store memberships. They always say, for your discount at whether Barnes & Noble or ShopRite or whatever. A lot of times they could put it in the key punch.
Right.
But sometimes they still ask you out loud, can you just give me your phone number?
Give me your phone number, right.
The guy behind you online can hear about that. Is it their reverse lookup?
Your ShopRite and you don't have your Price Plus card or whatever, you give them the phone number, right? That's exactly. So when you're, that's definitely a way that people can find out more information on. Not only that, but as well as email. People, you see all these forms out in the mall. Sign up for this subscription or sweepstakes or win this boat or motorcycle or whatever. Those are, first of all, you're going to get spam after
scammers,
you get that.
Aren't they?
Absolutely, and then that's a great way to get more information about you. There are entire books that you can find on Amazon on what's called OSINT, which is open source intelligence. And it's a way to gather information. People use it for marketing purposes.
Wait, say that word again?
Open source intelligence.
No,
OSINT.
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 O-C-E-N-T?
O-S-I-N-T.
O-S-I-N-T.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So these are ways that you can gather information about all sorts of people, whether it's about cyber espionage, whether it's about finding out how to market to somebody or steal their information.
And of course, they say that cybercrime as well as identity theft is the #1 growing theft in the country, simply because they no longer have to risk being bitten by the family dog.
Correct.
To break in and steal from
Exactly.
someone. Now they can take everything you have without lifting, more than their fingers.
18 million people in 2014 were affected by identity theft.
I wonder if the most famous people on the planet are more likely victims than
Not at all. Not at all. Well, they are, as we saw a couple years ago with people breaking into Apple accounts and stealing people's photos, and all that was bad password use. Don't use the same password in more than one website.
But then where do you remember all the list of passwords? Think about it. The average person must have at least, 10 to 20 different places that need passwords for everyone you want to do. You need a password.
If not more, but it's key to encapsulate that into having different passwords. And how you manage that, there are many ways you can do it. You can do mnemonics. You can use a logbook.
What does that mean? What is
like
mnemonics?
using for example, perhaps you're using your Gmail account. You would use maybe something like GM inside some other word, so that you know that's a Gmail account. It's different, but it's a way to mix it up, changing letters and numbers around, things that look the same, like the I's to exclamation points. Another great way is to use a password manager, like LastPass
Is that
or
safe?
1Password. They are very safe. They are very safe. They're much more safe than the way that most people are doing it today.
As long as it's not 1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly, and that's actually the #1 password that
Really?
gets used is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Absolutely.
Now you do know the reason I mention always about don't get your mail at home is because of reverse lookups. Can you tell us a second about what reverse looks are? A lot of people still don't know what a reverse lookup is.
Yeah, reverse lookup is all it is they have a piece of information about you and they find out who the person is that's attached to that piece of information.
So if I'm online behind you at ShopRite,
right,
and I hear you gave out or whichever place, the clerk your phone number, the cashier your phone number, and I want to stalk you or hurt your family, basically, somebody takes your phone number,
right.
They write it down, they remember it.
Exactly.
And then what happens?
They put it into one of these reverse lookup websites. Some are pay, some are free, and they find that information. And before, in the past, you had to go down to town hall to look at all this information. Now it's all freely available to anybody.
Now, how do you protect against that? I mean, I would think if it's your cell phone number, a lot of people don't have home phones anymore.
Right.
Doesn't that mean that it's where your bill gets sent to? So, example is if I have my bills sent to a UPS store address instead of a P.O. box.
Or a P.O. box, yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean, oh, look, the phone number, and the phone number goes to this address because that's where I get my phone bill. Now the person finds themselves at the UPS store instead of your home, right?
Right, and more than likely they know it's a UPS store, so they'll just skip it and go to somebody else.
Well, I think that's a very easy way to keep your family safe, though.
Absolutely.
Any last tips?
Just again, good online hygiene is the way to go. Absolutely.
I love that word.
Absolutely.
So just get added to the list of dental checkups and your annual checkups.
Exactly.
You add
and
your
cyber
hygiene.
checkup too.
Now, can we really trust places like Staples, say that they service your computer? Is that a good trustworthy place?
For the most part, most big box stores have trustworthy services. We've had issues. There are bad apples everywhere, and those are typically bad actors, not anything related to that store. So my preference, use a good local computer shop rather than one of the big box stores, but that's just because I like small businesses.
Well, we should all support small business such as yours, and thank you for sharing all your information here with my guest. Thank you, Raffi,
my pleasure,
very
Vivian.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not just one person, it's a group, it's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Welcome back to Stop My Crisis with Vivian Gaspar. And today I have here with me Julbert Abraham. Julbert, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Julbert is actually the CEO of AGM, a LinkedIn training and marketing firm here in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
But we want to be aware not just what the benefits of LinkedIn are, but are there hidden dangers to using it and how we could help safeguard against those potential dangers. LinkedIn has become so not just popular, but
Uh-huh.
almost crucial in anyone's day-to-day business to make sure they're marketing themselves properly and even looking like a polished professional.
Yes.
How many users are on LinkedIn now?
Well, Vivian, it's over 433 million.
That's more than how many residents there are in the United States.
I agree 100%.
So how many countries use LinkedIn actively?
Right now, it's over 200 countries. So
200
it's all over the
countries?
world. It's
Wow.
growing. It's phenomenal.
That is amazing, rapid growth. When was LinkedIn started as such a huge influencer?
Well, honestly, the company been around since early 2000, but the change happened around the change in our economy. So from, when the economy kind of went out to a recession, a lot of people start going on LinkedIn and fix up their profile. And then what ended up happening is started growing because you have all these professionals that have all these data, all their information from their professional businesses, universities, etc., and that kind of create a burst. And now a lot of people seeing value in terms of connecting with the right people on the platform.
So it's a great way to boost someone's business, and that's not just if they're self-employed or sales professionals, because usually that's what they think it's for.
All right.
Does everyone benefit from being on LinkedIn?
Absolutely, absolutely. From the student who's ready to graduate and looking to get a job, to the person looking for a job at the moment, to actual people that are business owners that own Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. They all can benefit from the platform.
Even CEOs of extremely large, powerful Fortune 100 companies need LinkedIn?
Absolutely, because it's a
Wow.
powerful tool to connect with other businesses. And if you're in the B2B space, you need to use that platform to really find the right people, do your research, and start building those relationships.
So, are there hidden dangers to being an avid LinkedIn user, even a passive LinkedIn user? What could those dangers be?
That's a phenomenal question. Again, when you're looking at LinkedIn as a whole, yes, it has 433 million users, but sometimes you have people that have fake profiles that are, you got to be careful sometimes when you post and stay focused more on the professional level because you don't know who's watching what you have out there. Even people that's not in your connection, some people might try to imitate your profile. So that's something you got to be very mindful of.
Why would people try to imitate your profile? Is that,
Wow.
there's a benefit to that?
Well, you're looking at somebody that's a hacker or maybe a thief and looking to penetrate a company. They find a vendor who actually, you work with the company, they use their profile or create a duplicate profile and then trying to sift through to get through the company that way. So it's a lot of different dangers. So when you're looking at someone's profile, you just got to be mindful and make sure that they have a professional photo, they have the same amount of connection that they need, and the profile is kind of complete.
Now, should someone not put personal information on LinkedIn to keep themselves safe? Like, what type of information should not be on your profile?
Fantastic question. Again, when you're looking at someone's profile, you have the professional background, the schools, the university that you attended. That's perfect. Now, I wouldn't put anything around religion or politics because that can hurt business as well.
But how could that someone hurt themselves? I mean, is there a reputation to think of that perhaps when they're job seeking, that might hurt them?
What happened is when you're looking at a recruiter, 70% of recruiters reject profiles that they see on social media before they even make a hiring decision.
Just 70%? I thought it'd be 100%.
Well, some people are more considerate than others, but when you're looking at that space alone with people not having a complete profile, that will hurt their reputation. Because if you Google somebody's name, one of the first things that pop up in the first or second page of Google is their LinkedIn profile.
That's right. I've seen that happen when, hey, we all Google ourselves,
I
right?
know. I
It's like,
do it
what
all
is
the
someone
time.
else seeing on me?
Yeah, I agree 100% because if you don't have the right information, somebody Google you, they look at your profile, no picture, no information about what you do professionally, that will definitely hurt your reputation.
I've actually had people request to connect to me. Now I have over 1,100 direct connects.
Wow.
And I've had people that ask to connect to me who don't even have a picture, professional picture. Forget professional. They don't even have a profile picture.
Wow.
And they don't have, they instead of any information, they just have ...
Oh,
instead of their
no.
profession. Those are the people
Yeah, stay away from them.
I stay away from those. I
Yes.
refuse connections.
Please do. Definitely
So
stay away.
let me ask you, who else should you refuse a connection to besides someone who's not doing that? Because to me, that's very suspect if someone's not putting down their information of who they even are as a professional. Forget an image.
Yeah, I
Who
agree.
else do we stay away from? What's
Well,
a
you
good
can
advice?
stay away from a couple of folks. When you're looking at somebody's profile, if they only have 2 or 3 connections, on there alone, and they have a picture that looked like it was a model or something that wasn't done from them, I would stay away from that.
I mean, it looks too professional.
Yeah,
like
no,
too
not even too
glamorous.
professional. Like it was just taken on Google image and pasted on there.
But how do you know that?
Well, when you look at some of the images, you can see if it's a stock image or not based the way it looks. And then if you look at the profile and it says, you see the stock image, but it said the person did their studies at like Harvard, but there's nothing on there, I would stay away from that as well.
What if somebody doesn't take a look at reading the profile before they accept the connection? What is something that you can notice in an instant? So my thing is to not accept their connection request when there's not even a profile picture and they're not even giving information on who they are as a professional.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yep.
What else should someone see almost instantly that is a red flag to stay away from?
Good. If they don't have anything about their background, meaning like they don't say anything about the experience that they have, it's just kind of like XYZ, do this. So stay away from that. As long as the profile is not complete, you could easily see for profile not complete, that's normally the biggest sign. It's not complete, why? And I would normally review it, but then I'll mostly stay away from any profile that I don't see not complete at all, because you never know.
What are the dangers? So, for example, we know it could hurt your reputation
Yes.
And cost you potential business.
Yes.
But let's take it a step further. Could anyone truly seek to harm someone, perhaps a scammer? So tell us about that, if you will, through
you have
LinkedIn.
folks that would, create a fake profile, and they will try to use that to get into companies, and then from that also some folks will create it and say, hey, we're investors, and they're looking to invest money in real estate. And that's a big one that's been going out there a lot. So you got to be very mindful with people that say, hey, I'm an investor and I'm looking to buy real estate, and then they're asking you to send money via Western Union. So be careful with that.
They're asking you to send them money.
Yeah.
Is there a demographic that they're usually looking to approach, or they're equal opportunity scammers?
Well, with LinkedIn, and you have the high level of individual that are on there, so it's more like an equal opportunity scammers. Sometimes you find more people than others, but most of the time it's more like if you have a full profile, you work for a high level company, then sometimes they even do a Google search on you and look at you on Facebook as well.
Oh, so they're researching people.
Oh yeah. It doesn't happen
I thought it was
overnight.
just, a blanket scam.
No, it doesn't. It's very calculated. All these things on social media is very calculated, especially when you have a Facebook, a LinkedIn, you have your digital footprint, right? That's out there. So you don't know who's looking at them. So somebody will do research on you on Facebook, look you up on Google, do a reverse image search to see where you're located.
Oh, you could do that. Reverse image search?
Yes.
Wow, that's something I have not heard of yet. So real quick, before we run out of time, I think it's really important with the economy. Still, a lot of people are hurting, still clamoring for getting out of crises, if you will.
I understand.
We have all the job seekers. I understand that's one of your areas of expertise.
Yes.
Now, I've heard advertisements, there's something called a reputation defender. What is a way that you would suggest people personally manage their reputation? Because now I understand that vast majority of recruiters, but also hiring companies, hiring managers, research someone on Facebook and LinkedIn to make sure they're not doing what? What is it that they're not looking at you do that could cost you to be hired?
Well, that's another great question. You're looking at a college student who's about to graduate, and I speak to a lot of universities, and I say, hey, make sure you have the right information on your LinkedIn profile. You look very professional. Also, remove all those bad pictures of you drinking.
People actually post people?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Really?
You see people drinking, partying. Some of these pictures, either you delete them or remove them from your professional profile on LinkedIn and Facebook, and even Instagram. That's another platform that a lot of people are going to as well. So you got to be very mindful what's out there, because once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. So anybody
It can't be
get
removed?
Well, they say it can be removed, but anybody can get it before you even take it out. So you got to be very careful, because that's your reputation, that's your digital footprint.
So here's my last question. I really think is important. Is there a way that someone can be targeted to have personal violence against them, or their home burglarized? How does that happen, where it starts out in cyberland, so to speak, like Facebook, for example? Can an innocent posting turn into your home being burglarized?
Yes.
What happens there? Tell us.
Yes.
And how do we prevent that?
There's a research actually that came out, says 75% of burglars do research on social media before attacking a specific home.
75%?
Yeah.
So you're saying burglars are not these ugly big thugs?
Nah,
They're actually savvy, intelligent individuals?
Not anymore.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
whole different world. It's a digital world. So you find these burglars, what they'll do, they'll go online, Facebook, for example, they check Facebook check-in, because a lot of folks will post their pictures while they're on vacation. So what I normally recommend is wait till after you come back from vacation to post your pictures.
So you're saying, here's where I was instead of here's where I am currently.
Exactly. Because now they don't have to, because if you're currently at vacation, on the beach, and you're taking photos, say, oh, I won't be back in 2 weeks. Guess what? Who's watching the home?
So now you have an open window saying, come burglarize me.
Exactly.
That's
and
the
all they
problem.
need is 10 minutes, and they can get whatever they want.
So would that be similar if someone's, for example, we are here in New Jersey, to go out to a Broadway show, we know it takes time to get there, back, watch it, so now burglar has 5 hours to burglarize a home.
Exactly.
Do people post that, and is that also a similar danger?
Yes.
Hi, I'm going to go see Lion King or Phantom or whatever.
Yes, although you're super excited, but because the way you got to be mindful of your settings in social media, because you have Foursquare, you have Facebook, so you have all these check-in spots that automatically determine your location.
Wow.
So when a burglar is looking at that, they say, okay, nice picture, but they're also looking at the picture to see where you are, the location that you went. They're looking at the Facebook, because you don't know who the person is. They might create a fake account just to connect with you.
Wow. So then and God forbid you surprise a burglar.
Yeah.
And now that's a lot of personal jeopardy,
Oh
because
my
how many
God.
home invasions have turned deadly?
Yeah.
And that could have unfortunately started in cyber world.
Exactly.
In Facebook, LinkedIn, cyber world, and like you're saying, Foursquare.
Yeah.
So
social media is an
protect your
amazing
family.
tool, but protect your family. That's by far the most important part.
Well, Julbert, this is really critical information. So give me one last most important tip to protect our audience.
Adjust your setting in all your social media platforms.
To what? Adjust it to what?
Private. Because if you're not doing business, you want to keep it private. Only people that you know are connected, that you want to see your profile.
And be selective on who you're collecting too.
Absolutely agree. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was wonderful having you and helping our audience stay safe, connecting from cyber world to the real world. Thanks again for joining us here on Stop My Crisis, and hopefully this will help stop your next crisis.